Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Food for Footy. I'm joined by Chelsea fan Michael again this week. Murchy unfortunately isn't well this week. It's got nothing to do with his Belfast trip last week, I assure you. He's just feeling a bit rough. But he'll be back next week for a special Leicester episode that we're doing after their fantastic victory at the weekend over Bournemouth. We do have Food for Footy. Stacks with their barbecue brisket loaded fries. We'll be trying those, seeing if they are good food for footy. And as we always say, if you're interested in us reviewing food on this podcast, please get in touch and we're more than happy to do so. Right, as always, we film this on a Sunday before the big games. So, Man Utd Villa is about to kick off, okay? And we will touch on that soon. But what we're here to review is this week's Saturday football. And I think the big place to start is probably the big scoring game, which is Brentford Wolves.
Yeah, Brentford Wolves.
Well, we were talking about this, weren't we? And you quoted me earlier. I said in the first one,
First podcast.
Yeah, don't see where the goals are coming from.
Yeah.
And they score 3, but they concede 5.
And they put 2 past us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they are scoring goals. The worry is that, the amount that they're conceding. But I don't know, where are they sitting now in the league?
Bottom.
Rock
bottom. Rock bottom.
They're scoring goals though, isn't it? If you quote Fergie, you know what I mean? As long as you score more goals than your opposition.
Which they didn't.
Which they didn't. But it's Brentford, isn't it? It's Brentford.
But again, you look at Brentford and you think...
No Tony.
Where are their goals coming from?
Tony. Who did they buy as a replacement for Tony?
They bought some guy who is injured. I can't remember his name.
He's not playing?
No, he's not playing. But they got Mbermo, they got Visser, who's scoring goals. They signed Carvalho from us, who scored the 5th goal. But
again, as a Wolves, you'd be looking at that thinking, it's Brentford. No disrespect to Brentford, but you'd be looking at that thinking, we're the more established Premier League.
Well, I think that's probably where Wolves would like to be. Where Brentford are in the table, Wolves would see themselves around there. I thought Cunha looked good for Wolves.
I think Wolves look good, and I thought the first goal, I can't quote you lots of Wolves players, you know what I mean? But the first goal for Wolves looked like a really good set piece of play. Do you know what I mean? It went out to the wide, it came in middle, it went in. You know what I mean? It was a nice goal. I don't know what it is. Is it losers mentality? Is it heads go down after a few goals go in? Is it? I don't know. But it was a good game to watch.
I mean, there was a clip right there. Losers mentality. Losers mentality. Wolves fans. Losers mentality.
I'll give a bit to Wolves fans. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan, a couple of seasons ago, we had that. Do you know what I mean? Where it would all go to chaos. Do you know what I mean? When a goal went in, and again, you shouldn't count your chickens. We got Forest today. The big game is United Villa in it, and seeing what happens at United, isn't it? I think Villa are going to steamroll them. But Chelsea are on at 2 o'clock as well, and it's Forest. So again, you should say as a what did you say, a big club, not an elite, a big club. We should roll through Forest. But a couple of seasons ago, and you lost to Forest.
We lost to Forest.
You lost to Forest.
Yeah, it's our one loss this season.
But you should look at those games and be like, oh yeah, it's okay. We can rest some players. I looked at the lineup before we came out. It's our strongest squad, I feel. Lined up.
But you're able to rest in the Conference League. That's the thing with yourself because
it was a whole different team in the Conference.
Because your Europe is like, for us, for example, we made a few changes against Palace. Good win. But we made a few changes. You know, Curtis Jones, Gakpo, etc. coming in, Tsimikas, and granted, we lost 2 players in injury, Alisson and McAllister, which is not good.
Have you heard anything about Alisson yet?
No.
Right before the international break.
Well, right before we play you as well. Next game is Liverpool-Chelsea, at Anfield. Look, Kelleher was poorly, so he'll be back for that, and Kelleher's obviously worked wonders against you in a couple of cup finals. But
yes.
But it's it was for Wolves. Going back to Wolves, they scored 3. And they did score 3, but when you score 3, you expect to win a game.
You do.
And they've lost because they've conceded. And you know what? The defending was shocking.
And they were always chasing the game as well, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? They never really had control.
No, they never went 3-3 or anything like this.
They never took control of the game. They did well. I think it shows something that they can do. It shows we need to improve our back line. Do you know what I mean? January
it's investment, isn't it? It's investment because
if you want to stay up.
Well, losing Kilman, who was a big part of their defence, losing Neto, and okay, they have signed players because I watched on Match of the Day. They had the clip of all the players they'd signed, but there's no one there really that's that's going to go out and win you a game. There's no one really there that's going to.
And sometimes it's the players that you don't know that. So you would argue if a defensive midfielder has a really good game, you talk about the strikers, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talk about the goals, the up front, and sometimes you need a solid defender, a Van Dijk sort of character. Do you know what I mean? That can basically nullify someone's. And I'm not saying Wolves can go out and buy a Van Dijk, but they need somebody to come in and take control of the back. Goals seem to be doing all right. Do you know what I mean?
But sat bottom with 1 point. Everton, great result for Everton. 0-0 against Newcastle.
Great result.
0-0 against Newcastle.
Brilliant. And that's the crazy thing, isn't it? So as an Everton fan, and like I said in the podcast that I was in, my dad is a big Everton fan, so I've got a bit of love for Everton. I like to see them do well. But that's it, a draw, we're saying is a big result.
Really big result.
Not a 3-0, a 5-0 drilling
but,
United.
Well, Newcastle...
Liverpool over United 7-0, do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Always appreciate that one. But, Newcastle, a big side, good side.
They draw to City.
Yeah.
They draw to Man City.
Newcastle can beat anyone on the day. Anyone on the day.
And Newcastle are a good side, but I think, like I say, for Everton, I think Everton fans will look at that and say, good result. I think the problem is what are Everton on? 4 points?
4 points.
And then what are the relegation teams on? 3s? 2s?
They've got 2 with 1 and then 1 with 3, I think. Yeah, so they're not clear.
It's not clear, is it?
But
so it's a good result.
Or Everton on 5 points.
I'm not sure.
I know they hadn't won. I got the first one again, but the thing is, they like last 2 results. They're only as good as your last result. Beat Palace. Yeah. Drew with Newcastle. And I think Everton fans, let us know what you think in the comments. But if you'd have said ahead of those 2 games, Palace and Newcastle, you're going to come away with 4 points, I think you'd have snapped our hands off for that one.
Yeah, I agree. You'd snap your hands off. I think Everton now just need to keep the momentum going, don't they?
Yeah.
Keep their heads up, keep the momentum going. I still think they need a better striker.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin for me isn't prolific.
No. And I think if there's talk, isn't there? I lose track. There's so much going on about. Wasn't it like the owner of Roma or something?
Well, that's getting close. Apparently, it's done next week.
If you can get a few transfers between the clubs, do you know what I mean?
Well, they've got to
bring a Tammy in or something.
Well, he's on loan at AC, isn't he? Yeah. AC Milan.
They've
got to. The thing is, they've got to clear the debts. So the owners will come in, clear the debts they've got. Because obviously the stadium, everything's backed up the debts.
The stadium's looking beautiful as well. Have you seen the early pictures?
It's a great second best stadium in Liverpool. But West Ham as well. For me, this was a big one because West Ham have been struggling. A lot of pressure on Lopetegui. And Ipswich, you know what? I didn't quite get this. And look, I know my outside the box in the first pod was that all promoted teams could stay up.
Oh, stay up?
Stay up because I thought that's why it was outside the box.
Okay, yeah.
Because I thought Wolves might have a bad season. I thought Everton might finally go. And then I actually said Forest could go, and that bit me in the backside when we played them. But
it's still early day. I think Forest fans. I think Forest will drop off.
I'm staying quiet on that one. But everybody seemed to say that if anyone was going to stay up, they fancied Ipswich, and I thought, is that love of the Premier League that, I suppose they call it the magic of the FA Cup, magic of the Premier League, that
the underdog
anything
story.
can happen, the underdog story, because do you know what? 4-1 losing. They haven't won a game yet.
No.
4-1 losing to West Ham.
Good, exciting young manager.
Yeah, definitely.
Promise around him. Can they do something different? They haven't got the money
They're a championship club. Yeah. The players they've signed, and look, I think they've signed well because they need to be prepared for time back in the championship because they are going to go down at some point. But Everton, the West Ham goals.
And I think this is again, I'm causing controversies, aren't I? I think West Ham have not been good.
No, they've not.
And I don't like West Ham. Who's the guy that plays for England?
You don't like Bowen.
I'm not a fan of him. And I think West Ham sort of like, he's the captain, isn't he? He's the...
Got a goal and assist yesterday.
I know, I don't think he's... But what do West Ham fans want? What do they want?
Well, West Ham won't go down. West Ham will.
No, they won't go
stay
down.
up.
I don't think for 1 minute
they'll
they'll
challenge
go
for
down.
Europe. I think they'll solid mid-table.
Mid-table, and where they had that one really good run with.
Well, they won the UEFA Conference League, didn't they?
David Moyes.
Yeah.
David Moyes, really good run. Wanted to change it. Wanted to kind of progress.
Yeah.
An Aston Villa story. Do you know what I mean? And progress and bring someone else in and progress. And it's kind of falling away. Now you could say, I'm a Chelsea fan, aren't I? It's a project, just a process. Do you know what I mean? Like, it will come good. And it might, I don't know. I don't follow West Ham enough to know what the philosophy of the club is or where they expect to be. West Ham fans...
With Moyes, Moyes had a solid defensive base. You knew what you were going to get with West Ham. You knew that they were going to be solid at the back.
Yeah,
and they had, big, strong Antonio up top, going to cause problems on the counter. Kudus looks a good player, again, playing out on the counter. Bowen has got pace. I know you're not a big fan, but he can...
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad. I just don't think
You think he gets a bit overhyped?
I think he's overhyped, yeah.
But Ipswich, that is a massive, massive loss. Because actually, West Ham are on the ropes. They were on the ropes. They're a team that...
They took 2 bad drillings, didn't they?
And that is not a good result. And the manner of the goals as well, I thought they were quite cheap. I didn't think that... I was looking at any of the goals thinking, oh, wow, yeah, they're playing some Manchester football there. I thought they'd just gone through them.
They tend to say, don't they, that by Christmas... you pretty much get an idea of where the league's going to look like. It's still early, but Ipswich have got to dramatically do something different, I think.
But I hope they don't sack the manager.
No, I hope they don't sack the manager. We were linked with their manager for a little while. I think he's a good manager. I think you've just got to try. And obviously, I'm not a manager, am I? I'm sitting here, pub talk, isn't it? Pub talk. We always put, if I was the England manager, I'd do this. I'm not. Do you know what I mean? They obviously know more than me, but I think Ipswich have got to dramatically try something different. And if it fails, they're already failing.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Try something different. Try, I don't know, 3 at the back.
Well, the big thing for
man up front.
big thing for Ipswich is the way it's going at the moment. Like at the moment, they've got the confidence still, and you can tell they're a team that's
being
playing
promoted.
with the And despite what the results happen, they still are playing with that belief. Come Christmas, like you say, if they are still on this trajectory, that will have dropped and that will have gone, and you could be facing.
There's only so many. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you could be facing a Derby County situation there. Low points, straight back down.
Straight back down. Yeah, they've got, for me, roll the dice, try something different, or again, Ipswich fans. I don't think I know an Ipswich fan. But if you're watching, what do you think? Do you think you roll something different, or do you think you try and grind out these games and try and get points at Brentford's and Everton's? And do you know what I mean? Is that where you get your points? And is the aim to stay up?
It has to be.
Do you know what I mean?
Has to be.
So the aim's not mid-table.
No, God no.
So I think going back to Everton, Everton's aim a few years ago was Europe. I think Everton's aim now is mid-table. I think Everton are a mid-table club.
Everton's aim is staying up.
Yeah, this is the problem. But I think because it was that season they got the point reduction, and if they hadn't got the point reduction, they would have been sitting around that kind of
10th, I think it was.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Mid-table, and I'd like to say that's got to be where Ipswich kind of see themselves being an established. That's the goal, isn't it?
Well, I see what you're saying. Every club needs to have the ambitions to be there. Because if you're not in the ambitions to establish yourself and being there, then what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, if you're just hanging on every single time.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be the great escape every season. Do you know what I mean? And you've just stayed up. It's to start to become a 10th, a 9th, an 8th, isn't it? And establish yourself. Because I don't think they'll ever be. And again, I say you don't know, but they're never going to be a Europe side.
No.
Can they establish themselves in the Premiership? Or, I don't know, is going back down and building character and starting from basics.
Well, the thing with Ipswich is that when they go down, the parachute payments will help massively, and that's the thing. The reward of getting into the Premier League. So Luton, for example, they're now able to invest in Kenilworth Road and expand Kenilworth Road.
Yeah, I quite like it.
But because of the money they've had, so it's going to be massive for the club. Right, so we move away from the bottom of the table and let's start looking up towards the top. So we scraped a 1-0 win against Palace, and I say scraped. We dominated for 70 minutes and then hung on. Obviously, we touched on the stuff with the injury to Alisson and McAllister.
It's big.
But
Alisson is a big bloke. I don't know what they've said. I don't know what the murmur in the talk.
But it's hamstring, and if it's hamstring, you're out for a while. They're talking about November international break, where we've got some,
so not even this. No.
We've got some tough fixtures coming up. We've got yourselves, we've got Arsenal, we've got Brighton, we've got Real Madrid, we've got Man City, all in a short space. Now, I think in terms of title, if we're top of the league after all those games, I think it's 10 games that we've got coming up. If we're still top of the league, then quote me on it. I will say we could win the Premier League and we're in the title race. Yeah. I think actually we've had quite a nice set of fixtures coming up, which has been great for Slot. Build that confidence. He is officially the most successful Liverpool manager in his first opening games.
And it started well. I was concerned's the wrong word.
You thought there'd be a drop off.
I thought it'd be a drop off. Yeah. I thought Saturday. Never heard of the man.
No, everyone expected it to be a drop off.
And I thought there would be a drop. And
everyone expected.
Well, when we kind of hit the ground running.
Well, when we didn't get a 6 as well, when Zubomendi didn't happen. I mean, Gravenberch has been our player of the season so far. He's been absolutely fantastic. My worry is goals, because for me, we haven't been killing teams off. Palace were there for the taking, and we should have killed them off. We should have finished them off. Jota was guilty of missing a clear chance.
And I don't rate Jota. I don't think.
No, you don't. But
I don't think Gakpo's good enough.
Nunez wasn't brought on at a time where we needed the counter attack, we need the pace, we need someone to get a clinical goal. He wasn't brought on. I'm not quite sure Slot trusts Nunez, and I think he'll probably go soon enough. I think you look at Man City, obviously. Forget Haaland, because Haaland is out of this world. But where are the goals coming from? You'd say, right, Grealish can get a goal. Doku can get a goal.
Doku, really good.
Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Foden, all these players that can pick up goals. Arsenal, Havertz, scoring goals.
And that's why I eat my hat, because I thought I said Havertz isn't the article. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't. It's not enough from open play. He scored a beautiful goal.
He did.
Absolutely beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
He did. So I worry for Liverpool in terms of...
Do you worry about goals at Liverpool?
A little bit.
Do you?
A little bit. I think Diaz will score. Goals. When Salah and Diaz, for example, aren't firing, Jota can be very hit and miss. And I've said this before. When Jota starts, I can always tell from the beginning whether he's going to have a good game or a bad game. I sometimes like seeing Jota come on as a substitute rather than starting. I think
try and change a game.
Yeah, change a game. But look, we've got to win. We sat top of the league.
This is it. A win's a win, isn't it? And I think you've said it before in one of these podcasts. The sign of a good team is that you can play badly and still get points. The win.
Yeah.
I think the problem is what are you now? So what is Slot? Is Slot? So you go back to Thomas Tuchel. Mm-hmm. Very difficult Chelsea team to play against. Defended
horrible
really
team
well.
To play against.
Would nick a goal. Do you know what I mean? And that was the philosophy. And he said, didn't he, that he felt that Lukaku up front was the missing bit of the puzzle, and he needed that big goal scorer, but he kind of focused at the back first. So what are Liverpool now? Are Liverpool's you were used to seeing the
heavy metal football.
Yeah. But is there a change from that?
Yes, there is.
Is this what we expect from Liverpool?
We are much more.
As a Chelsea fan, it's really annoying. Because you get a 1-0 and you're top of the league, and you're like, what the.
We are much more of a possession-based football now. We are much more of a try and control the game. And what I've seen from us this season is like the Man United game, for example. Of course, I'm going to talk about that. Under Klopp, that's either another 7-0, where we smell blood and we go for it, as in that ball is quickly got up to our forward players. They're driving at the defence. They are committing and they're taking risks. Or we draw that 3-3, like we did in the cup games last year, where because we've gone gung-ho, because we've smelt blood and we haven't finished it off, they then come back into the game. What we did against Man United is we sort of stopped, sat and went, we're going to be a bit more reserved in our play. If a chance creates, fantastic.
Yeah.
If not, let's just see.
I think Man United, though, the only man that's creating danger there is Rashford. Can you sit off Real Madrid?
Well, we'll find. That's what we'll find out. That's what we'll find out,
won't we? Can you do that, or will the relentlessness of Real Madrid roll over you?
Well, you're going to be the big test.
Well, I don't mean you. I mean that start.
You're going to be the big test at Anfield because Maresca. No one thought he'd hit the ground running as he has done, and it seems to be gelling.
Kind of needed it though.
You did.
We needed it.
But
we needed an identity.
But that's going to be the big test. I'm glad it's at Anfield and not the Bridge. But I must admit, I was cheering at a certain point yesterday because Fulham were beating City 1-0.
And
Arsenal were losing Southampton 1-0.
I was keeping my eye on the Arsenal.
And do you know what? Arsenal, look, Southampton, we've said it on so many different podcasts. Southampton fans, you're shooting yourselves in the foot every single time because you're playing out from the back. Yeah. Why? You're playing yourself into trouble. Arsenal's goals came from your sloppy play, and that's why you're going to go down. But City, if Adama Traore could finish, they would be done. If Adama Traore, if he could put the ball in the back of the net, like I've seen that guy play live a few times. I remember when he comes on, this huge, big machine, and to outpace Kyle Walker like he did. Kyle Walker had a head start.
There's something wrong with Kyle Walker at the minute, though, isn't there?
But he's fast. But
there's something wrong.
Adama Traore gave him a head start, caught him up, and he had two absolute gilt-edged chances where he's one-on-one with the keeper. Either take it round the keeper and slot it into the back of the net, you've got the pace, or finish, and there was no finish, no end product. If he could finish, City would have been in trouble.
They would have been in trouble. It's happened quick, isn't it? He's got the ball. You're probably not expecting to beat him so easily, are you? And be through. But then you are playing in the Premiership and being paid big money. Do you know what I mean? You should be finishing those chances. I think the scary thing about City though, Kovacic, 25 million we sold him to City for.
He scored two goals, one deflection, but one a very good goal.
A brace, and that's the kind of power. I know Rodri's out, but they're still bringing in from Chelsea, from Real Madrid, still bringing in big players. I think Man City will adjust to the loss of Rodri.
Do you know what? I don't. And I said last time.
That's the thing, isn't it?
There's the clip. I think you looked yesterday, there were holes, and Fulham were allowed to play. Rodri not only breaks up the play.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Rodri starts moves.
I think he's was on shout for the Ballon d'Or this year.
And he should still get it because injuries happened this year.
Absolutely incredible player. And Pep said it. I think in a press conference he said it's not a matter of money, because I think they were linked with some player from Bayer Leverkusen, weren't they? And they want 150 million for him. And Pep said it's not a thing about money. There isn't another player of Rodri's ability out there to go and get. But I just think they will adjust. I think they will. But it's Pep, isn't it? It's Pep. They're going to look at the footage. They're going to see what's gone wrong there.
They're not going to drop. They're not going to. But it could cost them a title. Fine margins cost you a title.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Fine margins cost you a title.
I think they still. I think they just. And time will tell. We'll see, won't we? We'll see again around Christmas, January time. I think they will adjust and they will fix. And I think they'll pip Arsenal again. I think they'll take Arsenal again.
It was 2 points last year. Rodri's worth a lot more than 2 points.
He is. But then Arsenal they're winning. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool, you 1-0, they're winning. But
that's it.
Arsenal
All three teams won.
Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying Chelsea are beautiful football.
I think what's going to happen.
Dom called it beautifully, didn't he? He said, didn't he, we're going to concede more goals, and we are conceding.
But I think what's going to happen is the extra games in the Champions League, and possibly even the new format, is going to play a part, because looking at the Champions League. So obviously we've had 2 wins now, 6 points. If it's in the old group stage, you're pretty much qualified at that point. You're thinking maybe one more win.
Yeah, you are.
But this time you're looking at it, and actually there was I saw on Sky Sports a thing where it said to guarantee I think it was like the getting the last 8 because you don't want to go into playoffs. You want the last 8.
You want the last
I think it said you need something like 16 or 19 points.
Is it really? So it's a lot.
And because it's 8, it's the top 8,
Yeah.
and then look at all the teams in there.
And they're winning. Arsenal beat PSG 2-0.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there saying Arsenal have got holes and they can be got out.
But I think the intensity is going to keep, and it's going to catch up. And look, it takes a couple of injuries. I mean, Odegaard's out for Arsenal. Rodri's out for the season. We've lost Alisson for a little bit.
Will Rodri ever come back?
Yeah, of course he will. Because I don't think Rodri's game is on an ACL you can come back from. But I don't think Rodri's game is ever around pace. Rodri's up there. But Rodri's up there. He reads the game so well, knows where to be.
Yeah.
But no, I thought there wasn't really. I mean, the big result I thought was actually the Leicester one. And look, I don't want to talk too much about that because I know Murchy will be sat at home in his bed thinking he wants to be talking all about his beloved Leicester. But huge result given Wolves losing, given Everton drawing, given Ipswich losing.
I thought Bournemouth would win.
Huge result. I thought they did. I thought they did.
Sorry, Leicester fans. Sorry,
no, I thought they did.
I thought Bournemouth would. And I said the same. What you said about Wolves. I said with Leicester, I worry about where the goal's going to come from. I know they got Vardy.
That's a beautiful goal yesterday. Beautiful goal yesterday.
You know what I mean?
19-year-old on loan from Brighton. On loan from Brighton. Where did Brighton get these players from?
Yeah, Brighton's academy.
Brighton's scouting department is unbelievable.
Something good, isn't it? But yeah, I was concerned Leicester wouldn't score enough goals, and again, they're doing all right.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing all right. But yeah, it's a big win for them.
Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the big game today. Now, no, I'm not talking about the Brighton game.
The Chelsea game.
I'm not talking about the Chelsea game because I think it's fair to say we could have a manager sacked by the end of the day today.
I agree. I
don't want it. Keep him in the job.
Keep him in the job.
Keep him in the job.
Keep losing. Who is there though to replace him?
Well, I've got a name written down here.
Have you? Because I would say Slot. I never heard of him. Didn't even know he existed.
Well, this is not what I think Man United should do, because I think Man United should go and get Tuchel. Because I don't buy into any of this, though that's not how Man United play. Because look, Man United fans...
being defensive?
You need to steady that ship. You need to stop this rot. You need something different. And I think actually, if you get Thomas Tuchel in... Chelsea were a horrible team to play under Tuchel. And actually, when Liverpool and City were at their best, you pushed us the closest. Yeah. You were next in line.
There's an issue there, though, isn't there? I don't know, because he left PSG under a cloud.
Well, he wants control.
And then he's left Chelsea
He wants control. He doesn't want to be a coach. He wants to be a manager. Yeah. That's the thing with Tuchel.
There's something there, isn't there, with Tuchel, that he's... But yeah, I think it would be a great appointment.
I don't buy into this whole...
He's won a Champions League.
Yeah, I don't buy into this whole... He doesn't fit the Man United style. Your style at the moment isn't working.
No, and that's what I said about it. It isn't working.
But I think...
It isn't working, is it? So
I think the man that could be the Man United manager this time next week is Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Oh, what, is it temporary?
Yeah, because I think he was brought in as assistant manager. This is a guy that was at PSV.
Shooting coach.
He was his own manager. But he was his own... Well, he was his own manager. He was
he the manager?
He was a manager of his own right in the Dutch league. Why have you come as an assistant manager when you've been the boss? I think it's a part of a restructure. I think it's part of a sat there and saying if he fails,
conspiracy.
You'll be in. Well, I think it's Ineos. If he fails, you can step in.
You can step in. And don't get me wrong, great player. Probably one of the greatest. Still probably tit Rooney. For Man United's greatest goal scorer.
Wait, he's the record goal scorer, isn't he?
Yeah, but Van Nistelrooy.
He was a great finisher. But do you know what?
Does he have the calibre? Has he come in? So you look at a lot of managers now doing well have been Pep's understudies.
But I think
has he come in to learn the Premiership?
But I think what he's looking at
for Brentford, a Bournemouth, and Ipswich.
I think after they stuck with Ten Hag and gave him the contract in the summer, I think they put him in as like an insurance policy where if it goes wrong, which it could well do, you can come in to the end of the season, see how you do, and we'll properly assess who's out there. But
so I've got a different name.
Go on.
Zinedine Zidane.
Again, he's there, but I think...
And I think he's an attacking
But I think at the moment, because I mean, again, Ten Hag, I hope he stays in the job because I love them losing, and nothing seems to be fixed. They seem to be going backwards. But right, the starting lineup. Have you seen the starting lineup for today?
No, I've only looked at Chelsea's starting lineup.
So Onana's in goal, obviously.
Of course.
You've got Mazraoui and Delo, the fullbacks. Your centre backs, Maguire and Evans.
Yeah, Maguire's done him well against Porto,
But
hasn't
you're in a game that could cost you your job. You're starting centre backs against Duran, against Watkins, against Rodgers,
the fridge.
Maguire and Evans, and then
Evans was never meant to. Again, Man United.
No, he
fans,
wasn't.
You might tell me different. My understanding of Evans was that he was bought as like a backup player.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be that coming on in the 70th minute. Do you know what I mean? In case someone got injured or someone went. He was never meant to be the main man, was he?
Well, it was injury cover because he had bad injuries last year.
Yeah, he wasn't ever meant to be a starting 11, was he?
But when you've got
How old is he?
when you've got Leicester City's previous defensive partnership there.
Yeah,
But-
and I know you said to me the other day, Leicester's rejection, and I don't think he was Leicester's rejection. I think they just couldn't say no to
I think that 85 million. They laughed all the way to the bank.
Couldn't say no.
But
And at one point, Maguire in an England shirt was doing really well.
But
He's
look,
a good.
if-
He scores
the
goals.
thing is,
big,
if
big lad.
you said to me though, this is Eric Ten Hag's. And look, we're not managers.
No.
But if you said to me, Eric Ten Hag's.
But this is food for football. In the pub, we all think we are
Exactly.
managers. Do you know what I mean? We all think we know the perfect lineup.
But if your job's on the line, let me tell you the midfield in front of it. So you've got Maguire and Evans. Now, pace is a problem with those
who's
two.
out on? Is De Ligt in? No,
No.
De Ligt's out. So who's out on the?
So you've got Mazraoui and Delo as the two fullbacks,
No.
attacking fullbacks.
Yeah.
So, right, Maguire and Evans against...
And how much was De Ligt? 80 million?
De Ligt was 50.
50 million?
No, 45, sorry. De Ligt was 45.
Oh, okay, yeah, only 45.
But, yeah, 45.
And I did say, I'm going off beat, I did
Well-
say Bayern Munich knows something we don't.
Well, you've
to
got
let him go. Do you know
you've
what I
got Martinez and you've got De Ligt on the bench today. So you've got what you'd say be 100 million worth of centre-backs on the bench that Ten Hag has brought in himself.
mean? Brought in himself, yeah.
Now, Maguire
Who's-
and Evans,
so who's-
you say that their big problem is pace. So surely you would need some holding midfield player in front of them.
Yeah, the young lad who plays.
Well,
for-
Mainu starts.
Yeah, Mainu.
I would argue Mainu is not a holding midfield player though. I would say he's more of an 8, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what you don't need next to Kobe Mainu against Aston Villa, who have pace in their team, is Christian Eriksen.
Ooh. Is that who they've gone
That's what
for?
they've gone for. So in a game that is potentially Eric Ten Hag costing you your job, your starting lineup has Maguire, Evans, and Christian Eriksen in it.
Are they hoping that Ericsson can find that?
I'm sure they are,
Find
but
that
he's got to get the ball
through.
first.
Yeah,
And the
he's
way
got that
the
vision,
way
hasn't
Villa press, and then you've got Ugarte, who spent 50 million on the bench, and
No,
he's
Casemiro. Is he on the bench?
Casemiro's on the bench.
And Casemiro was
He
game
spent
changer.
70
against
million.
Porto.
Yeah,
Do you know, I would argue when Casemiro came on, they actually looked better. And that's obviously why he's gone with Maguire and Evans off the Porto game. It can be the only rationale, can't it? That he thinks that's the. I don't know. And then who's up front? Rashford,
Hoyland, Garnacho.
Garnacho.
Good players. That's a good forward lineup.
It is, and I like Garnacho, but again, he's not done enough.
Started the season well. I think quote me if I'm wrong, United fans, but I think he scored this season more goals than he scored in the entirety of last season.
And I like him, and he was academy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came to the academy.
Player. He's a good player.
The only thing is,
I just think though, you look at that and you think, well, the goals, it's Rashford, isn't it?
but you look
Who's
at
scoring there for
but
Man United?
well, Hoyland got a goal in midweek, but if you look at that,
How many's he got though? Like 5.
But I think Hoyland will be a good player. I think he just needs time. He was a young kid. He's only
needs
young.
time. He's not though. How old is he now? 23.
No, he's younger than that.
Is he?
Yeah, he's younger than that.
He needs time. He's been at United. This
One
is what,
season.
His second season.
Yeah, and he was injured for a bit of last season. I think he has injury problems. But look, if
Is he though? So we just spoke about Rooney, Van Nistelrooy.
No, he's not that ilk.
Do you
But
know what
then,
I mean?
but Man United aren't in that ilk at the moment, are they?
But that's what they need.
The big thing for me, this is your.
But then,
this
Ten Hag has spent how much?
Mega bucks.
500 million, 400 million,
600
million. Do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, if your job is on the line, and the pressure, they said after the Spurs game, well, they didn't say, but the rumours were coming out of the club, were that 2 games, Porto and Villa. You drew the Porto game
and should have lost it.
Should have lost it when you were 2-0 up. So all this celebrating a draw. It's a draw against Porto that you were 2-0 up. But then Aston Villa away. Aston Villa flying. Beat Bayern Munich.
Beat Bayern Munich.
Really all over this.
Villa fans,
And they're playing a defence that's going to sit here because of the pace. And then you've got Fernandes, Garnacho, Højlund, Rashford that's going to be here. In the middle, you've got Mainu and Eriksen, where you're expected to be up, down, up, down. That ain't going to happen. They're going to be overrun.
They're going to be up, down,
overrun. Down. That seems absolutely bizarre. For me, you stick...
So who would you play?
Well,
Who's your starting 11?
You don't drop... First of all, I think, as bad as they were against Porto, your first choice centre-backs that you've brought in have been Martinez and De Ligt. The only way they get a partnership is if they play together. The more they play together.
Yeah, of course. And this is the bit that blows my mind, because Aston Villa have got pace. But are they thinking... Because if you look at Aston Villa in the last few games, it's been that guy that we wanted scoring screamers from outside the box, hasn't it?
Duran.
So Ollie Watkins hasn't been breaking the lines that much this season, has he? And that's what I see Ollie Watkins as. A kind of sitting on the back and then has that speed to break through.
But Ollie Watkins is looking at that and thinking...
Ollie Watkins is rubbing his hands together and thinking, I'm going to be the main man again.
Absolute ching for that.
Because I think Duran is the main man at the minute.
I think that...
Are they hoping that they can nullify...
But if you've
Villa
got...
at the edge of the
If you
box?
put Martinez... Now look, I don't watch enough of Man United to know if Martinez is actually any good. Martinez is your big money centre back that you brought in. That was Ten Hag's boy from Ajax, and he's got pace. They call him the Butcher. Surely you'd want someone like the Butcher playing against Villa. And look, for Onana, I feel sorry for. Onana's having a much better season than last year. He's got another centre back pairing in front of him.
I was going to say, does Maguire bring in experience? But then De Ligt brings in huge experience himself, doesn't he?
Look, Maguire's leadership is undeniable, but
That's what I mean.
Maguire
Does he
also,
hold the line?
but he also
Does
has a
command
mistake in him.
it? He does have a mistake.
He has a mistake in him, and for me, it's
I don't know.
It's looking at midfield.
It's weird, isn't it? Because this is Man United.
Why have you got Eriksen? Why have you not got Ugarte who can get up and down?
Unless it's and again, this is it against Porto. They put on like for like players, and I was thinking, what on earth are you doing? And then Maguire goes and gets the equaliser. But I thought there's no difference there, and it was the same Conte for Chelsea, and he used to bring off a midfielder for a midfielder, and I was thinking, what are you doing? Like, you've got to try and change the game. And it's crazy for me that it's Man United, because growing up, Man United were Man United.
They were a huge team.
Are Man United looking at Aston Villa and hoping for a draw? That's a clip, isn't it? Because it even feels weird saying that. Are Man United are you looking at Aston Villa and saying, I hope we can get a draw? And it's Aston Villa. No disrespect.
Well, look, last season,
you wouldn't expect... And I said, I'll hold my hands up. I said European football was going to be too much for Aston Villa. I didn't see them beat Bayern Munich.
No one did.
I thought they had done really well. Had a great campaign. I thought it's going to be too much for what they're going to drop
what
off.
might happen today is the excitement of Bayern Munich might mean they're off the ball this week. That'll be the big test.
International travel.
Well, they're at home. They're at home. But the big thing for me is Man United fans last year kept talking about what a good season they had because they won the FA Cup. You had a shocking season. You finished the lowest you've finished in the Premier League. You finished 8th. And actually, would you swap for Aston Villa finishing 4th? Yes, you would.
100%.
100%. Would you swap?
And trophies are important, and we said that in mine and Dom's podcast. Trophies are important, but you would swap it for top 4.
You'd swap Arsenal's position, where the fact they finished second. They finished with no trophies, but you'd 1,000% swap with it.
And the financial benefit from that as well. Because again, I don't know what Aston Villa's books look like.
No.
But I would imagine Ollie Watkins is going to need replacing it sometime, isn't he?
Well, it looks like got even Duran.
But then they would need someone else as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but I think I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking
Chelsea will go back.
Team selection, that team there. If your job is on the line, and look, these might be players he trusts. It might well be that he's put in players he trusts.
He's had a chat with them.
If they're the players you trust,
but even if he wins, is his job safe?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, he's a loss away.
Yeah. Where they sit, they're sitting like
13th at the moment, I think.
I don't think even a win today. Surely, Man United fan, and I would. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I think that the owners of Man United will be actively looking at for other managers.
Well, they were in the summer.
Exactly. And then that puts that in your mind, doesn't it? And it kind of like, well, what am I doing? They don't believe in my philosophy. But I think the only reason he's still there is because they couldn't find someone. And again, I keep going back to Slot, and he's done well. But I think, obviously, he's met with the board at Liverpool, and Liverpool liked what he said, because I'd never heard of the guy. And I was saying the same thing about Liverpool. I was saying, who the hell do you go and replace? Who do you bring in for that job?
Well, ours would have been a number crunching system where they've looked at this playing style, looked at bringing through young players, looked at all this sort of stuff, and the data analysis would be, he's your man. I think Alonso was first choice.
Alonso was first choice, wasn't he?
I think Alonso was first choice. I think Alonso turned us down, said no, wanted to stay. Respect that.
We've seen that go wrong, though. We've seen that with Solskjaer, with Lampard. We've seen it where it comes in and it goes wrong.
But for me, like I say, looking at that starting lineup, Man United fans, you've got to be worried. You've got to be worried. Well, maybe you're not worried because maybe you're wanting Ten Hag out.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe, but it's a dangerous line to play, isn't it? And again, Man United fans, I imagine you sit here and you say the intention for you this season is top four.
Has to be the money you spent. Yeah. Has to be.
So I think they say we're a top four club, and where they're sitting is.
Well, if they lose today, they're sat still bottom half of the table. Still bottom half of the table. Massive pressure, massive struggling, and I think if you sack another manager as well, it says a message to the players. If you don't like the guy, you don't have to perform for him, and he's gone. And
then, like you say, Van could then be the caretaker manager, couldn't he, for a while?
I think he will.
Till you bring someone else in.
But they're talking about bringing Solskjaer back as well, weren't they?
I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, great. Bring him back. Ollie at the wheel. Loved Ollie at the wheel.
To be fair, though, I watched an interview where Ollie was asking Man United to buy Haaland. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
When he was playing in a Norway league, and he was like, buy Haaland, buy Haaland. So imagine if that had all conspired and we're sitting here now and this lineup Haaland's up front. Do you
know what? I think you put Haaland up front in this lineup. I don't think he scores the same amount of goals because where's Bruno? But I think you've got the big issue.
Bruno, it's becoming a Man United podcast, isn't it?
It is.
Bruno. I made an outside the box, which was completely sort of disagreed with by the whole panel about Enzo being our captain.
I don't like Bruno as captain.
Bruno's the captain. He's had 2 red cards.
Well, it's the.
He's Man United's captain.
Yeah, no, I don't like him. He's
Man United's captain. You could argue the red card he had in Porto, he was challenging for the ball. Do you know what I mean? You could argue he's trying to get the ball, and I imagine that's what Man United fans will say. But 2 red cards from your captain in 2 games, and then
the thing is for me, I look at Bruno Fernandes, and look, we are going to have a Man United podcast at some point, and I've asked this question to the Man United fans, and look in the comments below, see what your answers are. Well, I question is he captain, but I think he's their Philippe Coutinho, and what I mean by that is we sold Coutinho and got better. I think if they cashed in...
He is a good playmaker, though.
He is, but I think if they cashed in, they could spend that money...
On who?
Well, I think, first of all, if you've signed De Ligt and you've signed Martinez, and they're not starting to save Ten Hag's job, there's something wrong there, and you need to look at that. But I think they need a good, solid, either box-to-box or holding midfield player.
The problem is, and again, I'm sitting here as a Chelsea fan, and we've got, in essence, got 2 teams. Do you know what I mean?
We've got 3 teams.
we've got 2 teams and a few backups. Right, so let's go. It's not a Man United podcast, but let's look at the Man United team. The goalkeeper, is he good, but the defence is so poor? Or is he poor? Because he makes some good saves. He had a good run in the Champions League.
He's improving.
So keep.
I don't. Last season you probably would have got rid of him, but this season he's made some good saves. You give him a will. He's not top class, but
got potential.
He'll do a job.
Does good. Okay, let's say keep. So let's say we've bought Manchester United, right? Keep. Look at the defence. Look at your defence.
If I bought Man United to keep it as it is, let everything fall down.
Look at the defence. I would argue, even though you've brought in Dillit,
I don't think there's anyone there
that you would keep.
No.
Man United fans, I'm kind of swaying your way as well.
No. The one, Mazraoui, you give time. You just signed him, fullback, give time.
Is he the PSG guy?
They got him from Bayern.
Oh, is he from Bayern? Didn't he get someone from PSG as well?
Bugatti. I think you give him time. Dallo, I see flashes that could be a good player.
Okay, so we're saying replace the whole back four.
I definitely think you need. I mean, look, Dillit, I said will either go one of two ways. It'll either be Bayern and Juventus have got rid of him for a reason.
He looked terrible in this Spurs game.
Yeah, Bayern and Juventus have got rid of him for a reason. That's the big thing. They've got rid of him for a reason. Martinez has flashes, but I don't think I personally don't think Martinez is as good as people say. Now look, it's difficult to take my Man United bias out of this, but I don't think he's as good as I think he's overhyped.
Not a Man United player.
I think he's overhyped.
Yeah. Casemiro, good enough?
No, past it.
Past it.
The thing is,
Bruno, not good enough?
No, Bruno is a good player. Look, I will not turn around and say Bruno Fernandes is not a good player, but I think he goes missing in games. He's busy doing this and his gestures. Man United fans will turn around to say he hadn't been sent off before then and things like this. Yeah. But I just think he goes missing. He throws tantrums.
Rashford has looked good this season, but there's problems.
Sell him, 1,000%.
The striker,
Højlund.
What's the one that begins with Z?
Xerxes.
Not good enough.
He's only just come in. But the thing is, you've got Højlund and Xerxes, and look, I don't think they're prolific. I think what you need is you probably need a sign. If they'd have signed Ivan Toney, a signing for now.
Yeah.
Give these two young lads a chance to grow and
then
develop. Play them in Europa League.
And
give them a chance to get the confidence up.
On
Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony. Looking at that team, who gets as a Liverpool fan, I'm thinking, right, who would I, if I could take anybody, who would I take? I'd take Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
I'd take Kobbie Mainoo. That's it.
And that's
arguably Garnacho, but Garnacho is on the bench because he's not, for me, playing ahead of Salah, Diaz.
And this is the problem. We're almost saying that the whole Man United team, bar two players, needs overhauling.
Yeah, I think it does.
And that is not doable. I'm not for any means saying that you can come in and do that. But there's a huge problem there, isn't there?
I think so. And look, we'll see. Is Ten Hag
and we say all
still
this,
going to be the
United
manager?
Might go and win 3-0 today, and we're...
Well, this is the question. Is Ten Hag still going to be the manager? So, right now, he is Man United manager. They haven't kicked off yet. They probably have kicked off now.
They have kicked off too.
Is Ten Hag still going to be the manager come the end of today, come the end of this week?
I think he will.
We'll see.
I think he will.
We'll see. Right, food for footy. This was from Stacks, and it was their barbecue brisket fries. What did you think?
Yeah, nice. I've always wanted to try brisket. It's a traditional American thing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was lovely.
Now, do you know what's interesting? They say on their website, for best results, because it's obviously out for delivery, heat the oven up, put it in for 2 minutes.
Reheat it back up.
Reheat it, because it's gone a little bit cold. Mm-hmm. But I think it's nice. A lot of sauce. Show you the lid. A lot of sauce. I'm not a huge saucy person. But nice. Very, you could very easily sit with that on your lap with a fork and just tuck in and eat. I did spill it down myself.
You did spill it down, yes. I saw that in the corner right.
Did spill it down myself.
I love loads of different sauces. I know a burger you have quite plain, don't you?
I like a plain burger.
I like loads of different sauces, like a few chilies, a few hot pepper. Do you know what I mean? I like different.
That's perfect for you then.
So for me, This is really good. As I say that, I'm choking on one of the chips.
Do you know what? It was a spring onion that got me. You asked me a question, I had a spring onion down my throat.
But yeah, really nice. I would quite happily sit and eat that. Really, really nice.
Stacks.
I'd say give it a shout. Yeah.
The menu looked fantastic. I will be trying a burger from Stacks at some point. They look really good. But no, as we said before, if you have a food place and you would like us to review your food and see if it's good food for footy, please do get in touch. If you've enjoyed this podcast, like and subscribe. The more likes and subscriptions we get, it helps the channel out massively. And let's see, will Ten Hag still be in a job this time next week?
Will he be in a job? I say nice, like football chatting it, football talk. Like you said, it's not stats and statistics, but score prediction.
3-0 Villa.
3-0 Villa.
3-0 Villa.
And Chelsea Forest.
2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea.
I think you'll get through Forest.
I heard it here. Put your score predictions. Some people might. We're a bit late kicking off. Do you know what I mean? But
could be 3-0 now.
Could be 3-0 now. Might be gone. He might walk.
Yeah, he might have gone. Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, we'll see.
As always, guys, leave comments below and thank you for joining us. See you later.